Happy belated Godzilla Day, everybody. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're not doing too much, mainly because I have like bigger fish to fry and oh my god, I'm so tired. But anyways, today I just wanted to talk about some news regarding Godzilla Day that happened for like the past 1.25 days, I guess. So, me and some friends actually stayed up watching the stream up until like 3 a.m. Canadian time, pretty much. And yeah, so just wanted to talk about some stuff that has been announced, some stuff that hasn't been announced, so on and so forth. And let's just start off with the thing that was never going to show up on Godzilla Day. Like, I'm sorry, but yeah. That being, there was no news on the Monsterverse, pretty much. Like, we didn't have any news for Supernova, we didn't have any news of Monarch Legacy of Monsters, and honestly, this is something that I've kind of gotten used to, but at the same time, me and my friend were just talking about how it's kind of weird that Toho doesn't really talk about the American projects, and honestly, I think it would be really welcoming if Godzilla Day just started acknowledging more about the American projects, because outside of the Monsterverse, you also have the IDW comics, you also have some of the crossovers that are happening, and I definitely think that there's something there worth, talking about and mentioning and, providing to not only the Japanese folks that are actually attending Godzilla Day, but also providing something to those who are tuning in to Godzilla Day. But while we didn't have any news about Supernova, Monarch Legacy of Monsters, or anything revolving around the Monsterverse, the Reiwa era is still alive and well. While yes, we got no news about Shin Godzilla 2, but we did get news on the sequel to Godzilla Minus 1, now being dubbed Godzilla Minus 0. They do know there's no, -0, right? Okay, so jokes aside, Minus 0 actually brings up some pretty compelling theories as to what the state of the world of Japan is going to be in the sequel. Like, me and the same friend that I mentioned before, we were talking about how, 0 minus 1 technically still equals to 0, and then kind of brought up the potential that maybe the way that -1 represents Japan being at, after World War II, Japan was brought to 0, but then when Godzilla showed up, Godzilla brought it down to -1. Now, our theory on this is that maybe in Godzilla Minus 0, the state of Japan hasn't changed at all. Godzilla appearing doesn't make anything better, but if anything, is like the state of Japan is still kind of bad, pretty much, in the sequel. Anyways, as of recording this video, the film is still shooting, set to end its filming around December. But before then, it seems that the film is also set to film in New Zealand and Norway. So, two things about that. Number one, Norway, which is pretty interesting since we are getting Troll 2 coming out in December. I do want to talk about that when it comes out. And New Zealand, who has a pair of podcasters that, yeah, I was like, Podzilla for Godzilla Minus 0. Let's go, people. And now this kind of brings me to one of the more concerning things that I have about Godzilla Minus 0. That being that, according to this insider from the Hollywood Reporter, that the film is set to release sometime at the end of 2026, or at least that's what Toho is hoping to achieve. Now, following this production, I do find it kind of unfortunate that Toho is kind of more or less making Yamazaki going down the same route. Like, maybe this film is also using a $15 million budget, and it seems to be going through the same production timeline as Minus 1, which, the unfortunate thing that I find about it is, while yes, we may be getting a Godzilla movie by the end of 2026, I say may because things could change, but anyways, what I find really unfortunate is that they're not kind of like striving for better technically. I think if Toho really wanted to push this to be the next big Godzilla movie, that maybe they would have afforded Yamazaki a little bit more time, give him more resources, rather than going, well, it worked the first time, so it has to work the second time, right? And it's just kind of like, while yes, I don't think minus zero is going to be worse. Like, that's kind of my major worry. Like, there's so many stories about how the first film is really good, and then when they try to make a follow-up film, it ends up worse. Like, I think a really good example of this is looking back at Godzilla's history. You have Godzilla 1954, which to this day is considered one of the best Godzilla movies ever made, and then followed up by Godzilla Raids Again, which some people still consider as one of the worst Godzilla films ever made. You know, they were really fast to capitalize on that first film's success. And not necessarily the same thing is happening with minus zero, but it does feel like, you know, considering the pipeline that happened last time with minus one managed to work so well, let's just do the exact same thing with minus zero. And to that, it's like, there's like no ambition to that though. You know, you're not really pushing the envelope, you're just kind of settling with what works before rather than pushing the limits and trying to make something potentially better. Or at least that's where I stand with it. At the end of the day, I will say this, in Yamazaki we trust, but the production committee, not so much. Now, stepping away from the realm of Godzilla Minus Zero, we also have the Godzilla Day special, which kind of leads us to the next piece of news, that being the figure news. That being this Godzilla short really emphasizes the short part, because nothing much really happens in this Godzilla short, which is kind of sad for me because this short showcases my favorite Godzilla design, that being the Mir Goji or the Gira Goji, whatever you like to call it. I simply call it Godzilla 2000. And you know, it's like the tease, the hype around this design potentially going into burning form kept me on my toes. But yeah, the short was pretty short, nothing really exciting happens. I will say the one notable thing about this short is by the end there seems to be a tease of another monster. Now, what is this monster? Well, considering that it uses both an altered Biollante sound effect along with the Mutos croaking, this leads me to suspect that maybe the next monster that we're going to see in the shorts is not going to be a Toho classic monster. We may potentially be in the cusps of seeing a brand new monster being introduced through these shorts. Now, what is that monster exactly? I'll see you in 2026. And like going back to like the Godzilla Day shorts, this year, yet again, no gemstone short. However, the gemstone design is present through this AR Godzilla game. There's not much I can really tell, mainly because I don't speak Japanese. But yeah, it looks like it's a VR headset game that you have to play outside, which one of my friends who was watching this review was like, I don't know about that one, Chief. Which, yeah, I understand, like having a multi-$100 headset on your head and then just walking outside. Be a shame it decided to rain. Now, speaking of burning Godzilla 2000, that brings us to the figure news. Now, burning Godzilla 2000, yeah, I want to get a figure of that. And I know when it comes to like these kind of festival kind of situations, like I think with Jet Jaguar, you had Jet Jaguar with the Gigan claws, and there's not really a lot of merchandise surrounding that version of the character. And I assume the same thing is going to happen with Godzilla 2000, which is kind of a shame because I am always in the market for highly articulated Godzilla figurines. If you want to know my life story, I guess the only thing I would really tell you is wait till December. More on that in a bit. But yeah, it's like there's not really a lot I can really get away with this. But from the selection that I see, some of these Burning Godzilla 2000 merch is actually pretty good. All others, not so much. I really like how Godzilla is like cosplaying the Hunchback of Notre Dame. There's like two figures here that I'm really eyeing. That being the X Plus and the or the movie Monster series. I don't want to get both, I just want to get one of them. Mainly because Burning Godzilla 2000 is such a cool it's a pretty cool look for the character. And being a huge fan of Godzilla 2000, I would like to get some kind of figures, a piece that represents this character. The sad thing is, I don't think we're going to be getting a high figure of this. We might, keyword, very strong might, as in like 90% no, 10% yes, we'll get a SH Monsters Godzilla 2000 burning version. But yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath on that. So yeah, I'm kind of like eyeballing the movie Monster series, mainly because it's in the scale that I like. But the X Plus has like all the details that I really want. I'm kind of surprised they didn't go with the that 30 centimeter figure rather, but yeah. And speaking of 30 centimeter figures, I almost forgot to mention this, but the manga Godzilla Galaxy Odyssey, I think, like the new Godzilla manga that is ongoing, is apparently going to be getting a 30 centimeter figure, kind of like the Godzilla 2000 that I mentioned earlier. So that's going to be exciting, but it also kind of raises the question, are we going to get more merchandise of this? Will Monster Arts step into the limelight and make their own version of Godzilla Galaxy whatever? Because yeah, I would really like to see that being a potential design. I always like getting Odyssey figures like that. You know, look at my own shelf and you'll see that I have like the NECA Reactive Glow Godzilla along with the NES Godzilla. I still have the Yuji Sakai Concept Godzilla 2000. And you know, I would like to see more figures like that. Whether or not the companies will actually make those kind of figures, well, I don't work for Bandai, so yeah, it's up to them. Which finally brings us to the new SH Monster Arts reveal, which I'm not going to talk too much about it here right now. I want to save that for the video that I alluded to earlier. But yeah, all I'll say, it's interesting. It opens the doors for a certain figure that I think people would be more excited for. But the version of the figure that Tamashii Nations showcased at Godzilla Day is sadly the less ambitious figure to make, which is kind of a shame. But yeah, we'll talk more about that with my Monster Arts roundup video, which I'll mention at the end of this. And finally, for figure reveals, which came out yesterday, like November 3rd here in North America, pretty much. Because yeah, there's like a bit of a time difference between Japan and North America. Whoa, geography. That brings us to the Super 7 reveals, and for me, mainly concerning the new Toho Ultimates line. Now, like if I had to really, like, there's only one figure that I think is really good from these reveals, that being the Kiryu. Everyone else is, oh boy. So that Shin Godzilla, I honestly don't know how I feel about that Shin Godzilla. Like, the way the teeth are printed on both the closed mouth and the open mouth, I think it kind of showcases the problem with having the whole interchangeable head kind of thing going. I really want to root for Super 7, but you know, the recent controversies plus this is making it kind of hard to really like stay in their corner a little bit, which I think is a shame. I generally do really enjoy some of the figures that they provided. I'm still looking for that Reactions Shogun Godzilla with the Firing Fist. I have their 1200 degree Celsius melting Godzilla pretty much. That's like one of my favorite figures in my collection. I have the Thirsty for Blood, which is awesome in of itself. And you know, I was really hoping for more from this wave. Now I will say this, like, let's talk about the Godzilla 2002. I think it's understandable where they kind of went with that figure. Like, sure, it's no SH Monster Arts, pretty much. Just like I'd say, of all the Godzilla 2000 merchandise, the SH Monster Arts is still my favorite. I know the creators still took some creative liberties when it came to making that figure, but I definitely say it's like one of the best and one of the more accurate depictions of that character. Even though I heard like some goings-ons about how it's not exactly the best Godzilla 2002 figure, which I don't really see that. I definitely think it's one of the better ones that we have available. But yeah, it's like, given how many attempts Haya had to make to get the head right. And you know, being an artist myself, I have drawn Godzilla 2002, and I can tell you, he's hard. He's actually really hard. It's like, there's something about the head that's very distinct when you compare it to other Godzilla designs, or even similar Godzilla designs like the Godzilla 2000. And you know, it's very easy to get it wrong, and it's so hard to get it right. That's not to say it's impossible, but it's definitely like a 1 in 10 chance to actually get the head shape right. Like, going back to Haya, I think they had like 4 or 5 attempts before they finally got it right. I will say this, I think it's alright, honestly. I kind of like how it looks like a crocodile almost. But is it a good Godzilla 2002 design? Not really. And then you have the Shin, not even going to comment on that. The Kiryu seems to be the only good one, that it comes with a berserker head and a normal head. Whether or not the jaws are going to be hinged or not, it'd be weird if they weren't, because then you'll have just the angry head just constantly open, and then the mild head just closed. I didn't read any details. Maybe they'll do something like what SH Monsters did, where you could take off the eyes and like swap them if you want. But yeah, I'll have to go over it and double check. And that brings us to a figure that I was, like, when I heard about it, I was pretty excited, but seeing it actually being made, I'm a little disappointed, that being the Space Godzilla Super Godzilla repaint, I guess. Basically, Super 7 took their Space Godzilla and gave it the colors of Super Godzilla from the game Super Godzilla. Like, I wouldn't mind getting a Super Godzilla figure one of these days. The problem is it going to be accurate to what the character looks like? And I definitely think it's a missed opportunity from Super 7. That isn't to say Super 7 can't make their own more accurate version of that character, but that's not what we're given right now. What we're given is a Space Godzilla that has the colors of Super Godzilla. Like, if it was a proper Super Godzilla, I would have definitely bought it, and then slowly had a crisis on where to put it, because I'm slowly running out of space, because the Super 7 Ultimate figures are not exactly the smallest things in the world. However, because it is just a Space Godzilla repaint, I will not be picking this up. Like, there's nothing really much from Super 7 as of recent that has really compelled my interest as their initial figures have. Like, again, you have the Meltdown Godzilla, you have the Thirsty for Blood, mainly because it's a question of, will we ever see these kind of figures again? And usually the answer is no. But with like the Super Godzilla Space Godzilla repaint, I'm gonna skip that, because I think since a lot of people have Space Godzilla, this repaint is going to be in the cards for a lot of people. Godzilla 2002 has had some fair representation over the years. Like, he even managed to get, like, Kiryu even managed to get a NECA figure. While not exactly Godzilla 2002 itself, it is Kiryu with the chest scar, so on and so forth. And you also have like that Century's End Godzilla, which hasn't really piqued my interest. It's just Burning Godzilla at the end of the day, or Decisive Battle Burning Godzilla, Endgame Burning Godzilla, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's just not really in the cards for me. So yeah, there's not really much that Super 7 is doing that's really compelling me to really be interested in picking up some of their stuff, when compared to when they started with, you know, their more ambitious figures, arguably. So that's honestly a shame, in my opinion. But yeah, that's everything I think that's worth really mentioning about Godzilla Day, pretty much. So what am I doing? Well, stay tuned for November 20th, because finally we'll be trying to release the Jurassic Park Timeline version 2. Then sometime in December, hoping to finally get the SH Monsters follow-up video done with the latest survey, which I will say, while it is the most successful survey we've done, I don't think I'll be doing another survey anytime soon, but I'll explain in the video. And speaking of SH Monster Arts, yes, finally, the figure I waited 13 years for has finally made it to my hands. And there's a bit of a story about this guy. Like, I pre-ordered him from Calcus Toys, and there were some shenanigans when it came to this figure actually finally shipping to me. So yeah, this guy is going to be getting his own dedicated figure review. And yeah, it's kind of a shame, because I was really hoping to do like a full unboxing of this guy. I did film an unboxing like here on the desk, but yeah, I was hoping to do it while doing the review. But yeah, review of this guy should be coming out sometime between November 20th and the SH Monsters video, which I'm hoping to get it out in December, so expect it around there. And then finally, we have the release of Jurassic World Evolution 3. So there's a couple of videos I want to do about that. There's one video where I want to revisit the previous Jurassic World Evolution games and do a proper review of Evolution 3. And there is another video that me and my friend Miles did way back when, which I won't say what it is exactly, but it does like tie into Evolution 3 and does kind of raise some questions about Evolution 3 and the greater Jurassic World Evolution games. But yeah, my dogs are going crazy, so I'll have to attend to that. That is the video. Hope you guys had a good Godzilla day. Hopefully you guys got the news that you're hoping for. If you're a MonsterVerse fan, I'm so sorry. And yeah, I will see you all in these later videos. Till next time, everybody. God, I need a nap.